It's time for another adventure. So today we did a simulation lab, and basically we work with a dummy, as you can see, who is very lifelike, can blink, has breath sounds, their heart actually beats, can have different clinical signs. So we can actually examine them, and if we go in and listen, I can hear him breathing, and you can even lean that bed back, you can intubate him and actually put a tube in and get it into his lungs. Here we have a whole lot of the different materials and things like that that you'll see in the emergency room. We'll get chest x-rays that simulate what we would see, different lab values and things like that. So this is a great place for us whenever we want to practice what are the things that we'll see in the emergency room before we actually see them. This is kind of a safe place for us to practice those things. I am drinking the pressure cooker Kool-Aid now. I just sauteed some kale. Like, it's this electronic pot, but it sautés. I also made some teriyaki chicken in this pot. It took literally 5 minutes to make this chicken. And then it took like 2 minutes to saute this kale up. And you can also make rice in here. Like, it's just amazing. And it's perfect because I just made myself a really quick, easy dinner that I can eat during my shift tonight.
Hello, friends. I just woke up from what my sister would like to call a fat nap. Obviously, I slept this morning, went to lecture. I just got a couple hours of sleep now. And then I am heading to the hospital, and it's about to be a great night.
I'm pretty certain that there's an art form to this flipping thing. So if you've been following along, I had a shift. So I had like a full straight string of shifts, and then one day off, and then the next day lectures, and then that night, being this night that I'm now coming off of, I had a night shift. And then even tomorrow I'm gonna flip back. Then the next day I have a night shift. Yeah, I mean, I'm still just figuring it out, but it was fun though. Like, I worked with some really, really cool people, just like really great teachers, and learned a lot from my patients today. Actually, I had somebody with a disease that I actually don't think I've helped treat up until this point in medical school. Neuromyelitis optica, which is this autoimmune disease that primarily affects the spinal cord and your eyes. Similar to multiple sclerosis, which is a little bit more common. Hi, friends. Okay, so right now it is about almost 9 p.m. and I'm going to head into the hospital to spend some time in the trauma unit. So this is the area where you're gonna see penetrating trauma, so gunshot wounds, blunt traumas from falls, motor vehicle accidents, and things like that. This part of the hospital, it's interesting because a lot of the most, like the most classic life-saving interventions and that sort of thing happens here, but it can also be a really emotional place to be. This is a lot of times, as far as the emergency room goes, where you can see a lot of death and a lot of quick deaths, a lot of kind of more dramatic deaths, and it's not all like that. A lot of it is also broken bones that need surgical intervention and things like that, but it's also people who may have been victims of violence in one way or another, and having to deal with that. So I'm looking forward to the shift in the sense that I think it will be, it's important to see these things, and it's going to be a really big and important part of my practice once I become an emergency physician. But I'm also thinking pensively as I go in, because I realize that there might be some things that I see that will be a little bit challenging. Hi, friends. It has been another eventful day on my end. I went to a social where I got to meet some of the residents who are at my program and just ask them questions one-on-one about, you know, what their experience has been like and how they've been navigating the program, whether they would recommend the program, things like that. And I highly recommend doing things like that, talking to the people who are actually at the program, hearing from them, how do they feel valued while they're there? Do they feel like they're getting really good training? I got really good responses from the people I talked to, so I'm happy I went to that. Now, I have a shift tonight, so I'm going to take a very short nap. I'm excited for the shift tonight. I'm happy I got to like meet with the people today, and I will check in with you guys later. It's gonna be a good shift. It's about 4 a.m. I just took a quick little bathroom break. At the beginning of the shift, it actually got really interesting, and there was like a lot going on between in the trauma bay and then here in our medical ER as well. And then of course, like in any clinical setting, there's like ebbs and flows, and so then we just kind of like recently hit, I mean, it's not like a standstill, but there's like, you know, we're waiting for labs to come back, we're waiting for x-rays and stuff, so kind of working through that. Hi friends. So it is another morning after. I am on a marathon night shifts to end my month in this emergency room, and we're leaving with a bang. Well, it was a really interesting shift. So I saw another person with tachyarrhythmia, like I mentioned in my first overnight video. This time we pushed the adenosine, like if anyone has seen that video, but it didn't work. So we actually had to do the electrical shock next. So it's not like you see in the movies. We kind of stuck plastic pads on them and then did a shock. Additionally, there's a trauma bay, the trauma center, and so there was a trauma that came in, and I just went over to go observe that area, and it was really sad. There was somebody with just multiple gunshot wounds and didn't make it, so that was hard to see. In a young person, it's just really hard to see. So that also happened, but overall the people I worked with were great. I worked with some like awesome teachers today who like really pushed me in a way that I need to be pushed, so I'm happy with it. I am super duper excited to go meet up with my bed, take a nice nap, even like bought a little blindfold thing so like the sun doesn't mess with me and stuff, and then wake up and do it all again. Your girl is up from her nap and about to get to cooking. Chef B is in the house. We are off to the races again. It's gonna be another good shift. I feel it in my bones. So I just came back from getting tacos this morning. Like some of the residents I was working with were like, hey, we just came off of the night shift, like let's go like get food, and there's all these like 24-hour taco spots, and so we like went and got tacos. It was really fun. Now I'm gonna go take a nap and then get ready for another night shift tonight. Yes, it is a marathon, not a sprint. My friends, I just had my last shift of the month. What? It just came so fast. I'm like kind of sad. I saw so much today. It was hectic. Just in today's shift, it like started off with like craziness. We had to put a central line into somebody who we later found out had perforated their bowel. Once you've perforated your bowel, you become really septic, and so she's in the ICU now. We also had to intubate somebody who had become very altered, likely because they were trapping a lot of carbon dioxide, and so their mental status really took a turn for the worse, and they weren't able to protect their airway, so we had to intubate them. I ran over to the trauma bay and I saw a gunshot wound where the person's vitals were really, really deranged, which indicated that they had bled a lot in the field because we saw the bullet wound that went through. And also a motor vehicle accident where there was an open fracture. It just looked really bad. Like their leg was completely, it's like it was supposed to be straight, but it was completely like twisted off. It was bad. We diagnosed somebody with brain cancer who just came in because they were having headaches. I mean, like, the shift was crazy. It was crazy, but I guess that's like how you end. That's how you end the month, you know? So I have a lot of things to process, like a lot of things I've learned, a lot of things I'm gonna wanna like really decompress and reflect on, but I just feel really grateful for the experience. Hi friends. So I'm actually sitting here editing the footage of this video, and it's really hitting me how much I saw. The fact that I was present on many people's worst day of their lives, and I'm having the privilege of working in teams to walk people through those experiences, a lot of times very traumatic, a lot of times very scary, and sometimes fatal. And I don't take that lightly at all. It's something that I reflect on very seriously. This is such a tremendous privilege to bear witness to these things, and then also to be given the tools to help people through these tremendously difficult times. And critically important to mention is we as clinicians have to take care of ourselves, our mental health. This is difficult work to care for people through some of these tremendously difficult things. So I know for me, therapy is something that helps, and being surrounded by loved ones who I can decompress and vent with. And so absolutely anybody who wants to come into this field, know that you get put under a lot of duress, and it is so important to have an outlet to process these things that we go through. And I also want to make a note that I did this rotation in the summer, and right after the rotation ended, I headed back to graduate school. I've been posting on the medical school side of things, and I'm going to be doing that same sort of content, but with the graduate school side, because I am doing 2 degrees. I'm doing my MD, and I'm also doing my master's in public policy. So look out for that content coming soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps. It helps this community grow